And welcome everybody to the Cultured Gamer. Today's show is going to be about all the Xbox versus PlayStation drama, the battle for Call of Duty. We talk about exclusive games and more. Stick around. And welcome everybody to another episode of The Cultured Gamer. This is episode 3. I am your host, Jason Carmona. Today we have a different assortment of guests today. To my right, we have special guest Michael Malello.
Hello.
And down here, we have Michael Wayne.
Hello.
We got two Michaels here today.
The tale of two Michaels.
Right.
So Michael Malello is actually a host on another the Cultured Gamer or Cultured Nerd show, I should say.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your show real quick.
Yeah, so it's called the Cultured Pull List, where me and my co-host Luke, we break down. It's a comic book show, so it's all comic books. It's been a lot of stuff we're reading right now, or a lot of trade paperbacks. So right now we're going through a lot of the graphic novels that James Gunn's new DCU is kind of going to be based on. So we're going through those, going through All-Star Superman now, going to do Grant Morrison's Batman next. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. If you're into comics, definitely check it out.
Awesome. And to our bottom down here is Michael Wayne. Michael Wayne is a junior editor over at the Cultured Nerd. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Michael.
Nothing much. Just over at the Culture Nerd, just kind of over. I don't know. I haven't really been there a lot lately, so I've been just kind of reading people's articles, keeping up with news as much as I can.
Right on. Well, welcome back.
Nice.
And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to go around real quick before we get into the news. Malello, what have you been playing?
I just finished Resident Evil Village. I've been playing that. I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm also playing Last of Us Part 2 at the same time, kind of. And been playing some Modern Warfare 2 with my friends lately too. So lots of different stuff.
Wayne, what about you?
I've been playing a lot of Hogwarts Legacy and
nice.
Doing a playthrough of Pokemon Silver right now, which has been a lot of fun. Bring back some good memories.
Nice. Yeah, I'm still chugging through those Lego Marvel superhero games. My son is a co-op fiend. We finished Knack and Knack 2 not too long ago, and now he's discovered Marvel. So the Lego games come first. They're the easy introduction for him, and he can't get enough of those. Every night it's, Dad, can we play Lego Marvel now? Dad, can we play Lego Marvel now? So
nice.
Chugging those through. I also started playing My Memory of Us. It's a game that I received as a review token not too long ago, maybe a couple years ago, and I just haven't had the time to play through it. It's kind of a back burner game, and kind of now's the time that I have a little bit of free time going through that backlog. And it's a quick game. Most extended plays that I've seen on YouTube are about 3 hours long, so I figure I'll just chop through it and get it over with before I start Devil May Cry 5. So definitely looking forward to that. But we have some news to talk about today, so let's get to our main topics today.
Indeed.
So we're going to discuss our first breaking news story. It has to do with Nintendo. They've announced that Mario Day is coming, which is March 10th. And I almost said March 5th, March 10th. And on this Mario Day, they're releasing a special edition Switch bundle. Now, this is just the standard Switch. It's not the OLED Switch, but it does come with a custom finished black and with red Joy-Cons. And it does come with a single game download. They let you choose your game. You can either choose Mario Kart 8, Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, or Super Mario Odyssey. Also on March 10th, they're going to have a sale of Mario themed games on sale for $39.99, and those include the 3 games mentioned, as well as Luigi's Mansion and other various Mario games. So very cool. The next story is going to be LeBron James and PlayStation are teaming up to release a custom console of sorts. This console will feature graphic art designed by LeBron James himself, and will be on sale exclusively via PlayStation.com.
Okay.
So be on the
like
lookout
that.
for that. Yeah. Definitely interesting. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the last breaking story today, Meta has announced that they reportedly sold nearly 20 million Quest headsets. Quest, the former company known as Oculus, was recently bought out by Meta a few years back and changed the name from the Oculus to the Meta Quest. This news comes from upload.com and, by way of The Verge. In comparison, PlayStation 5 has officially sold 32 million units as of February 2nd. So yeah, this is a good milestone for VR and definitely, puts the exclamation point that VR is definitely here to stay and stick around. And Meta has, some very big aspirations for VR and its future. We've seen, the metaverse and Horizon Worlds. And Meta is really, really digging their heels deep into this whole VR atmosphere. Mello, were any of these breaking stories catching of your eye?
Not super into Nintendo, though. That Switch does look pretty cool, and it's pretty cool. You get to choose the free game. Normally, they just kind of like throw a free game at you. You don't really get to choose. So that's pretty cool. The PS5 one's actually kind of cool. Like I like that it's black. The normal PS5 has white sides, and I kind of like the black. And the actual graphics are kind of cool too. Not a huge like NBA fan, but it's actually pretty cool looking, all things considered.
Right, it's got stylized look to it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's nice. And the Meta Quest, again, I'm not really that into VR, but I am surprised by the amount of sales though. Like not as much as the PS5, but not nearly as like few as I would have expected. So that's actually pretty interesting as far as, like you said, it seems like VR is really taking some strides and looks like it's here to stay and it can pretty much only go up from here, looks like.
Definitely. Wayne, are any of these breaking stories catching of your eye?
Definitely the PS5 skin one or the cover plate, because I've had my PlayStation for a few months now. I'm getting tired of looking at the white plate. That's definitely something I'm going to keep my eye on, because the design for it reminds me of the NBA 2K cover LeBron got, and I was a big fan of that one. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on that one.
Nice. Yeah, the PlayStation, I think they need to sell it in black more often. I think the white is just it's odd.
I'm not like, I don't have a PS5, but I'm still not like a huge fan of the white, especially considering all the other consoles are black. I'm not sure why they went white all of a sudden, but
just to stand out and to be annoying.
Right.
But they do sell different shades of the plates on PlayStation Direct as well. So if you wanted to get a black one, you could buy the plates separate. But it's good to see that they're entering the type of business model where now they have variants of these consoles, and for collectors that's always a good thing. With the Nintendo Switch news on March 10th, that's pretty awesome for people who don't have a Switch. That bundle will go for 300 as opposed to the 350 that the OLED usually goes for. But I kind of wish that they offered this deal for the OLED. I think it would make it more enticing for people who don't have a Switch, who are waiting for that OLED model to drop in price a little bit. With it coming with the free game, I think it gives more incentive to just hunt for that. And just, I think that this is just Nintendo kind of clearing their stock. And trying to get rid of as many basic models that they have left. And with the VR, I wonder if that's lifetime sales. I didn't get into it too much, but it was said in November 2011 that the Quest 2 had sold 10 million units. So I'm guessing this is just of the Quest 2 variant and not including lifetime sales. But again, that's pretty impressive with PSVR 2 just launching right now, and with this news, hopefully we see more development in that space. I know the PSVR 2 games were a little bit lacking, and a lot of the games that are available are ports of PSVR 1 games. So hopefully with this news that Meta Quest 2 has sold 20 million, that we do see some of those games ported to the PSVR 2. Let's move on to one of our main stories today. Variety has a new article out that has confirmed and announced that horror producer Blumhouse Productions have acquired the rights and are moving forward with a Dead by Daylight horror movie adaptation, which is awesome.
Cool. Yeah, honestly.
Cool. So the article reads,
I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely looking forward to it. So the article reads that Atomic Monster and Blumhouse are teaming with Behavior Interactive, the largest Canadian gaming studio, to develop a feature film based on the horror hit multiplayer game Dead by Daylight. The game launched in 2016, and the game itself has reached 50 million players worldwide. Basically, what this is pretty much kind of a 4-on-1 type game, 4 versus 1, where you basically either are the villain or you're the victims, and you try to survive, for a lack of a better term. Malello, what do you think of this news of Dead by Daylight getting a film adaptation?
I'm honestly kind of hyped for this. Not gonna lie, me and my friends, like, the last couple years have played this game a lot together. It can be really fun, just going around fixing the generators, and especially when you have a group of 5 people, so like one of your friends is the killer and the other 4 just like trying to survive. It's really fun. I'm really curious to see how they're going to adapt it into a movie. Because I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be like just kind of like the main premise where they're kind of like trapped somewhere and there's like 4 however many survivors, but at the same time, this game does have a lot of like killers and survivors from other games, like other horror games and movies. So I'm assuming they're probably just going to stick to the original characters for this movie.
Right.
But because that'd be kind of weird to have like Ghostface or Jason just like pop out of nowhere and be like, oh, surprise, like what?
Right.
But also I think Blumhouse has really become a really big like horror studio the last 10 years. So it's definitely gonna, have a lot of money behind it probably. And I'm pretty sure Atomic Robot is James Wan's company, isn't it?
Atomic Monster.
Atomic Monster, I mean, yeah. And so James Wan's kind of like a horror icon at this point. He's directed and produced so many. So I definitely have high hopes for this movie. At the very least, it's probably going to be fun, if not pretty damn good.
Wayne, what do you think about this story?
I'm excited. I've briefly played the game. I don't have a lot of experience as much as Malello does, but I'm a big fan of Blumhouse, and I have faith that they can make a good movie out of this. Yeah, big fan of their movies.
Yeah, I agree. Blumhouse Production has a stellar track record. More often than not, they produce runaway hits. I think I just saw Smile the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I think they did Megan too, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They also did Megan, which is on Peacock.
Megan was good.
Yeah. I have yet to see it. I have the uncut, the unrated on my
very nice
in my queue. So probably gonna watch that this weekend.
Very nice.
They also did Happy Death Day. They did Fantasy Island. They did a whole slew of horror films, and their track record usually is pretty stellar. With Blumhouse, I would think it's safe to assume that Universal is probably going to distribute this movie. And with that, you definitely know that it's going to get the proper funding and budget that it probably needs. Probably more than it needs. This game pretty much follows typical horror tropes, kind of vast location, isolation. Teens or kids running away from serial killers. So it doesn't get really hard to, write a script for this and get the wheels going. So
I was gonna say there's not a whole lot of story to it. So
exactly.
I wonder how they're gonna flesh that out.
Blumhouse, they were the ones who did the recent Michael Myers movies, so maybe we will get to see a Michael Myers movie. in Dead by Daylight movie.
And that's the cool thing about Dead by Daylight 2, not 2 like it's a sequel, but the game as well. But is that it's known for its DLC packs, and each DLC pack containing an infamous killer from a movie franchise. So not to say that we should expect any of those to pop up, obviously due to licensing concerns, but
maybe some Easter eggs or references.
Yeah, some Easter eggs and references. Maybe we see a machete from Jason, or Michael's mask laying around or something like that. Or or the Book of the Dead just sitting on a shelf somewhere. That would
cool.
kind of that would be cool. So let's move on to our one of two main topics. It's actually a dual topic. We're going to be talking a lot about Xbox today because Xbox is definitely in the news.
So hearing about it.
So Phil Spencer recently did an exclusive interview with a UK publication. He was talking about exclusivity and Call of Duty remaining multiplayer. He went into depth to reiterate that they are not removing Call of Duty from multi-platform consoles. They just signed a deal with Nintendo last week or two back that promises that all Call of Duties going forward will be on the console as well as other Xbox games from various Xbox game studios, Bethesda, ID, all of them. So basically, they reiterated, we are available here everywhere, not exclusive. We wanted to make absolutely the best version of Call of Duty for any player on any of those platforms. I sit here today with the great game that comes out in the last couple of weeks, Hogwarts Legacy. And yes, there is a quest that's available for PlayStation. It's not available on Xbox as part of that. And I know that's part of the industry. So basically, he kind of compares Hogwarts to some of the stuff that Xbox has been doing with Minecraft being multi-platform, and Elder Scrolls Online still being multi-platform. These are Xbox-owned properties and studios that develop them, but they're still multi-platform. Some games that are coming out, like Starfield, those will be Xbox exclusive. And he goes on to say that some titles will still be exclusive to Xbox that are currently in development. But some of those legacy franchises that they purchased along the way will still remain multiplayer, like Minecraft, like the Elder Scrolls. Malello, what do you think? What do you make of all this?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's probably the best idea to not just take all of the stuff they bought and just be like, all right, well, this is Xbox exclusive now. Because, on the one hand, that is kind of, that would kind of in some ways put a bit of a leg up like on PlayStation if they just like made Call of Duty an exclusive. But at the same time, that would really kind of piss a lot of people off. And I feel like that is a frustration with PlayStation too, is they have like a lot of really good games, but like you have to go to PlayStation. And if you like, are more of a PC gamer or something, that's kind of a problem. Until they finally decide to put it on PC or something. But so I am glad that they're keeping a lot of these more legacy franchises in, like all three, or not all three, but like all the platforms. And I feel like it's probably a smarter business move because I feel like they're probably going to make more money. Like the odds that they're going to draw more people to Xbox by making them exclusive is probably like more of a slim chance than just making money from distributing them everywhere, So
right.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Wayne, what do you think?
I think it's good that what Xbox is doing, keeping everything multi-platform instead of just keeping it to themselves. Because I know as a PlayStation user, I was kind of upset when you hear about the news, like Xbox is buying all this and stuff. And I thought some of my favorite games, like Call of Duty and Skyrim, were just going to stay with Xbox.
Yeah.
So I think it's good that they're keeping it multi-platform, doing right by fans and gamers and stuff by doing that.
Yeah.
But also keeping their own exclusive stuff.
Right. Does this encourage you to want to get an Xbox?
Not really. I know one of the
that's fair.
I think it was mentioned that Starfield was going to be an exclusive for Xbox a part of that. And from what I've seen from Starfield, it doesn't really like I need to play this game. It doesn't give me that. So we'll see how this goes. Through time and through the years, we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. Exclusives have always been a part of the game. Nintendo had Mario, Sega had Sonic, and that's just the way your cards were dealt. Whoever came up with the best games had the most gamers. It wasn't something that was cried about. Like as vastly as it is now. Exclusive has just always been part of the game. As old as I am, there's always been exclusives. It's not new. The company who makes the best games wins the race.
Right.
So
I am a little worried about how Call of Duty could perform on the Switch, because the Switch doesn't really have that much power to run a game like that. I mean, to me at least, it was barely able to run the Pokemon Scarlet. So I don't know how it'll do with Call of Duty without an upgrade or something.
And that's another question. That's a fair question to ask too. Are we going to start paring down Call of Duty games so they could be multi-platform? So Modern Warfare 3 is also on the Switch. Do we dumb the game down a little bit across the spectrum? You know what I mean? Does that hold back the current gen versions for PS5 and Xbox Series X? Are they going to get exclusive versions of Call of Duty? Are they going to, are they going to get a version that's exclusive to the Switch? Is it not going to be a part of Warzone? Those are good, solid questions.
Didn't they kind of make like a dumbed down version of like Modern Warfare 3 for the Wii back in the day?
They did.
Was it like the same game, or was it kind of dumbed down? I'm not super.
Yeah, so sure. They did have Black Ops. And
that's right.
It is the same game. It's just graphically pared down.
Okay.
So it was more on par with the PS2 version.
Okay.
Rather than a 360 version.
Gotcha.
I was playing a demo for NBA 2K. I think it might have been 21 on the Switch, and the graphics were way behind. It looked like NBA 2K14 or something.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and the Switch itself is dated tech. We're talking comparing PS5 and Xbox Series S and X to, a 7-year-old Android tablet.
Jeez.
So it's definitely not going to compare. And I think that system is starting to show its date. And on a separate topic, Nintendo needs to do something about that too, because as well as the Switch is selling, eventually its age is going to catch up with it. And the lack of interest will start to show. Again, who's to say that the current iterations won't be dumbed down or paired for Switch? Comparing Hogwarts Legacy, though, I think was a little bit of sour grapes, because again, those are deals that Sony has in plan with the publisher developer. And if Microsoft isn't quick enough to be on their toes and make those same plans, or to have their own set of exclusive DLC, that's their loss. They didn't work hard enough to get that stuff. I don't feel like they should be comparing apples to oranges and crying about when they get the lesser of the two treats. You know what I mean? Like, they really just need to step their game up. Maybe they should just stop buying companies and start working with companies more. You see that happening more with Hideo Kojima recently. We don't have a picture of that up right now, but the Xbox Game Studios publishing team just recently paid a visit to Hideo Kojima and Konami, or not Konami, Kojima's productions out in Japan to discuss the title that he's working on for them and to collaborate and whatnot. And you do see that it's a healthy relationship that they have working together right now. And Microsoft definitely needs to expand upon those relationships, I think. It's great that they own 20 game studios that have developed other things for PlayStation. And I could see where the concern is, where people, kids love Crash Bandicoot. I bought a PlayStation. I have Crash 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them, and then all of a sudden I don't get any crash anymore because I bought the wrong console. You know, same with Call of Duty. It's a valid concern, especially when consoles are $400-$500. And the last generation for PlayStation, you marketed Call of Duty as if it was almost an exclusive for that console. It was on the boxes for consoles. It was all over the marketing. When you saw a commercial for Call of Duty, it almost said PlayStation 99% of the time at the end during that last generation. So there is valid concern, and I could see why he continues to stress this, because for the longest time it looked like he was going to get a lot of pullback from regulators and other governments in terms of not allowing him to buy Activision as a whole, even some requesting that they should sell off Xbox if they want to attain Call of Duty, which is crazy. I would never ever sell off Xbox just for one game.
No, that's not worth it.
No. But the plot thickens also for Xbox as well, because the FTC has responded in detail to Sony's complaints. And it seems like it may have actually backfired on Sony. So basically, Xbox firm will receive PlayStation exclusivity contracts as a part of the FTC's response, and 4 years of company records and prep for the summer trial over Activision Blizzard acquisition. Basically, Sony ran their mouth too much about how much this would hurt their business, and Microsoft came with a really good argument that Sony has a bunch of exclusives, Final Fantasy 16 being one of them coming up. Is PlayStation exclusive. The Final Fantasy 7 remakes seemingly are all PlayStation exclusives. These are titles that will never come to Xbox, seemingly for the time being. I know that Final Fantasy remake, they said that it was a 2-year exclusivity, but it does seem like now that is a lifetime exclusive deal for that game. And this really backfired. So at a glance, free of this games industry article, the FTC judge grants Sony's request to limit time period of documents provided and withhold evaluations for Jim Ryan and other execs. Sony must share all requested documents with Microsoft, including any exclusivity deals since January 1st, 2019. And Microsoft says PlayStation's information will assist their defense in the FTC trial this August. This is big news because Xbox is going to virtually be allowed to know every single deal that's been made within the last 3 to 4 years. Even announcements that haven't been made public yet. This could be very damning for Sony and their plans to, strategically market certain games. If Microsoft has the leg up and decides, hey, we're going to announce that you have a, Killzone 4 coming out at the end of the year, and you're waiting to the state of play at E3 to announce it. Whoops. This is big. This is a really, really big deal. Malelo, what do you think about this?
I'm not going to pretend I understand all the legalities of it. I know that Microsoft has been trying to acquire Activision and Blizzard, and Sony's been fighting them on it. And I mean, I think Microsoft has the valid point that it's like you've got like tons of exclusives. PlayStation has had arguably, not really that arguably, the best exclusives for a decade at least. I think the last really solid exclusive Xbox had was Halo, and nobody's really given a crap since Halo 4. So they've got so many other studios they're working with. PlayStation does that, and also there's the whole thing where Call of Duty isn't going to be exclusive to Xbox, and that's a big Activision product. So, I mean, I think, like you said, Microsoft should probably cool their jets with buying other companies. But at the same time, I don't think it's, getting in the realm of oh no, they're becoming a monopoly on gaming, because I think Sony still has plenty of other tricks up their sleeve.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Wayne, what are your thoughts?
I think it goes along the lines what you guys are saying with Xbox buying all these companies. I don't really have an issue with it because to me they have all these companies and games, studios making all these games for them. But from what I've seen, they haven't made like that groundbreaking game,
right?
That like matters. Like hey, you need to get an Xbox. You have to play this game. They haven't made that game. And the way I see it, PlayStation has the better exclusives all the way around. So I don't mind Xbox buying the companies to maybe create some competition, but I don't see them competing with PlayStation for a while.
Yeah, so I don't see them competing with PlayStation this generation. It goes back to that agreement that they signed with Nintendo. It's a 10-year binding agreement that assumedly starts the day that they signed it. Now, 10 years is enough to last a console generation these days. Microsoft's that whole Microsoft PlayStation generation was probably the longest, but typically they last about 5 to 7 years, and then you have about 3-year drop off before that console is end of life support. I think the Sony concern is that they've already built up so much goodwill with players and owners of their console, with the intent of having that marquee title, the big number one seller of the world, unfortunately for some, is Call of Duty. Whether you play it or not, it is what it is. It's the biggest game in the world. Everybody and their mom has played Call of Duty and probably owns a copy somewhere. Again, with that last generation, it was so heavily marketed that Call of Duty almost became synonymous with PlayStation that generation. The generation prior, it was Xbox. So I could see Xbox not wanting to make that same mistake and knowing that they need exclusives because, like you said, they haven't had that groundbreaking title on their consoles since the first Halo, and then Gears of War before that. And even then, Gears of War wasn't anything that hadn't been done before. It was just from a visual standpoint. It was revolutionary. So, it's those 3 titles that they keep revamping like clockwork every year: Call of Duty or Halo, Gears of War, Forza. And it's always those 3 cycled out over and over and over again. And I feel like some of their other properties that they had already owned, like Battletoads or Recore or something like that, didn't get more attention like they should have. They had good foundations with the first games that they put out, but they never really followed through and came out with a Battletoads 2 or the 3D Battletoads that kind of everybody was hoping for. Forza, they keep making great Forza games. They're always great. They get better every year, but it's still Forza. You always know what to expect. Same with Gran Turismo. You know what to expect with those games. They don't change. They just evolve into what you expect them to become for that generation. Sometimes not even that. If you played Gran Turismo Sport, it's kind of a step backwards in the series. But definitely, when the thing that kind of trips me out is that Microsoft is going to have access to all Sony exclusivity contracts.
That's
for
nuts.
The last 4 years. That can screw with Sony in ways that can't. Because now we know who their partners are, who we haven't talked to yet, who we should be talking to. How can we steer them away from your ship to bring us an exclusive to ours? This totally. I don't. Now it kind of does seem a little unfair to Sony.
When you put it that way,
I feel like when it comes to the corporate strategy side of things, the judge or whoever made that ruling really kind of gave a leg up to Microsoft in that respect. And it seems like you kind of said, Sony just kind of ran their trap too much, and kind of drew attention to too much stuff, to the point where they probably, gave Microsoft access and drew attention to stuff that maybe Microsoft might not even have like looked at otherwise.
Exactly.
But now that they're like, well, you have access to this, they're like, oh, okay, we weren't even going to look at that, but we are now,
Yeah, definitely. It's like, oh, you have this developer working on said franchise. We didn't know that. Maybe we should recruit them to build.
Right, we should talk to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wayne, do you have any thoughts, final thoughts on this topic?
No. I was actually just thinking back to something you asked me earlier in the show. Was like if something would draw me to get an Xbox, and I was thinking about how Xbox and their exclusivities and how they have Bethesda now. I was thinking that if the new Elder Scrolls was an exclusive for Xbox, that would probably be the one thing that would force me to get an Xbox, because those are my all-time
fish line
favorite
hook
games.
for you.
Yes, if they said Elder Scrolls 6 Xbox exclusive, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to Walmart. I'll be back. You got to get one.
Right.
But yeah, that's.
Malala, do you have
I don't
any
really have a
final
lot
thoughts?
of thoughts on that.
Not so much. I feel like we've covered everything. I feel like I've kind of exhausted my knowledge base here of what I can talk about.
Right on. Well, that's going to be the end of our show today. I wrote a shorter show today. I want to thank our guests, Michael Melello, for showing up, and Michael Wayne for showing up today. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for showing up on short notice. Tried to keep this show a little bit shorter. The last couple episodes have run over an hour long, and wanted to do something a little bit different today. So thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We're definitely going to do this again. We'll have you guys on very shortly. And again, thank you for watching, you guys. That's going to do it for us. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Give us a like if you like this episode. Go ahead and scan that QR code on the bottom. And we want to thank you. If you guys want to support us, go ahead and visit our Patreon, patreon.com/theculturednerd. Each show has their own individual tier that you can support. We would very much like that. Go ahead and support us. I am the host of this show. Melello and Wayne were our guests today. We want to thank our Patreon supporters, Wesley, Ashlabeck, Connor, Anna, Salib, Oscar, Craig, Mitch, and Steven. We want to thank Jason. I'm sorry. We want to thank Jose Navarro for our logo, and Michael Melello for helping us work on the intro. That's going to do us for today. Thank you again. And thanks for watching. Tune in next week.